Here's a question for you ladies. When you're texting a man, do you think there are more attractive ways and less attractive ones to communicate your interests and ideas? Think about it. Are your text messages pushing him away or drawing him in? My name is Ismael Gomez. I'm a coach, writer, and speaker. And as you know, texting has become an important medium of communication for all of us in today's world, especially when you're dating or trying to get to know someone. So in this video, I'll discuss some of those mistakes that you make when texting a man that can slowly make him lose interest in you. Some of them are from my personal experience, but the majority come from over 1,000 men that made a thread about it on Reddit. Okay, so I'm here to share them with you. So let's begin. Number 1, trying to create a deep connection over text. One mistake that I often see women make is trying to create a deep connection through text messages, especially those of you who are introverts or in a long-distance relationship. Texting is great for quick communication, but it's not the ideal method to build emotional intimacy. When you try to convey deep feelings or complex emotions through text, the nuances of tone, body language, and facial expressions are completely absent. This makes it easy for your words to be misunderstood, or for your message to come across as less impactful than you intended. True connection happens face-to-face, ladies, or at the very least over a phone call, where you can express yourself clearly and fully understand the other person's emotions. If you're constantly relying on text messages to build or maintain a meaningful bond with a man, you might be setting yourself up for shallow interactions. Number 2, always initiating conversations. If you're always the first one to text, he might start to take you for granted and assume that you'll always be waiting on him regardless of the effort he puts in. And ladies, like I always tell you, do not think that most men do this consciously. Like, oh, let me take her for granted. It doesn't happen that way. They just start perceiving you that way. And if you want me to prove my point, think about this. Do you ever wake up in the morning, look at the sun and say to yourself, wow, I'm so glad the sun came out today. I truly appreciate it. I bet that most days you don't. Why? Because you've taken the sun for granted. That's right. You don't want a man to take you for granted, and yet every day you overlook something as vital as the sun. Anyways, you get the point. It's important to let him take the initiative sometimes, which allows him to express his interest naturally. This balance can create a more equal dynamic in your interactions, making him more invested in you. Number 3, trying to be funny all the time. One of the most liked comments that I saw on Reddit was from a guy who mentioned how some women try to be overly funny in their texts. He pointed out that when you're constantly making jokes and ending every sentence with LOL or hahaha, it can come across as if you're trying too hard to be entertaining. This hasn't happened to me, but I saw that many guys were identifying with it, saying that it can sometimes make the conversation seem less genuine and more like a performance. Instead of engaging in authentic dialogue, it might make him feel like you're putting on a show, which may not create the connection you're aiming for. Number 4, ignoring grammar and spelling. Okay, this one is a personal pet peeve of mine, and I know that some of you may feel the same. But ladies, consistent typos or poor grammar can be extremely off-putting for someone that's trying to have a serious conversation with you. And this doesn't only apply to relationships. Many people might make negative judgments about you based on your texting habits. Constant errors in your spelling can be interpreted as a sign of laziness or a lack of education, even if that's not the case. And by the way, if the situation is reversed and you're dating a guy whose grammar is all over the place, don't just mirror his lack of attention to detail. Instead, aim to help and inspire him to improve. By setting a positive example, you can encourage mutual growth and enhance how you both communicate. Number 5, double texting. If someone hasn't responded to your text message, trust me when I tell you, you don't need to double text them. There's no need to send a new text saying, hey, did you see my previous message? Hello ? Understand that there are only 2 possible scenarios. Either they saw it and it's not a priority for them to reply right away, or they haven't seen it, in which case they'll get back to you when they do. And if by any chance some emergency or something terrible happened to this person, well, guess what? no one has seen your text yet, so sending another one won't change that. Think about it this way. If you're home and someone is knocking on your door and you don't want to see them, the last thing that you want is for them to keep knocking. Also, this is a good way to see if their communication style matches yours. If it doesn't, that could signal a potential issue in your relationship. Number 6. Discussing serious issues. Ladies, I know that most of you know this, but you still do it. Texting is not the best medium to solve a conflict or to have a serious conversation. When you're writing these things, a lot of important points can be easily misunderstood. It's better to have these conversations in person, or at least, like I said before, over the phone. When you find yourself typing out a long paragraph, okay, because I've been there before, and you're trying to explain something like it's an email, consider picking up the phone instead. In moments of tension or conflict, real-time communication is key. It's also easier to gauge how the other person is reacting, allowing for a more empathetic and constructive dialogue. Number 7. Sharing intimate pictures. Here are 3 reasons I suggest you never send naked selfies to your men. First one is the obvious one, that if you ever end the relationship, they could use those pictures as ammunition against you. And trust me, it happens. Second is that most of us guys are quite careless with our phones. We could be going through our camera roll and we completely forgot about that picture that you sent the day before, and now his whole family or his group of friends saw you without your clothes on. And third is the psychological effect, where the less you see it, the more curious you are about it. That's why we put gifts inside a box. The mystery is what sparks the interest. So save those intimate moments for the special occasions when you're together. Number 8. Texting late every night. If it's 11 p.m. and he hasn't texted you, do not try to start a convo that late. Usually at night, people just want to unwind and disconnect, especially if he's a busy man with a demanding job. As I always tell you, men enjoy their solitude, being in their cave. So give him that space, allow him time to recharge, and he'll come back to you refreshed and ready to engage. Number 9. Always starting with a question. Are you the type of woman who kicks off every text conversation with a question? Hey, how was your day? Hey, how are you? You see, constantly starting with a question can make your conversations feel more like an interrogation than a conversation. And please, don't do the lazy alternative of just sharing a TikTok or Instagram reel every time that you run out of things to say. Try making a statement about something that you've been thinking about lately, or bring up a subject or something that you talked about with him in the last conversation you had. These approaches help make the conversation feel more relaxed and engaging. Alright ladies, that's it for today. And if there are certain texting habits from men, that truly annoy you, let me know in the comments. I might take a few of those and share them with the guys on the Reddit group, because I think it will be really interesting for them to see your perspective as well. Anyways, thanks for subscribing to my channel. I'm glad that you chose me to learn about self-love, dating, and relationship dynamics, because like I always say, for your relationships to change, you need to change. Have a beautiful day.